Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Now today I'm going to be building a slide out kitchen for my half-ton truck bed. Now there's a lot that goes into this and I'm no professional, but if I can do it, I know you can. Now I've already figured out the basic box dimensions for my truck, but the rest is pretty much going to be learn as we go. So that way you can see all the tools, products, and steps I did during the process. So let's get started. I'm super excited about this build. Okay, the first step is figure out which cooktop you want to use. I chose this Blackstone griddle. I like this better than some of the other griddles because it actually had a lid you could close. Now the reason why you want to start with this is because that way you can design your whole box around the build. That way this will fit inside of it. Okay, here we have our 60-inch truck bed slides. When these things are fully extended, they'll go all the way to 10 foot. So what I'm going to start with, I'm going to clear this table off, get a sheet of plywood up there, and then we're going to start cutting the basic dimensions of the box. Okay, now that I have the basic box built, the outside, we have our rollers installed. These things extend out to 10 foot. Then they lock back in place. Now we're going to get started on the interior box, the one that will slide in and out. We've got the bottom piece cut here. The reason why I cut this front section out, this is where the sink is going to sit. If you can see that right there. And here's the drawer slides that are going to be mounted on the sides. So I'm going to set up the camera here, start putting this box together. Finally got this thing finished up. It took me about 6 days from start to finish, but I took my time with it. That way I wouldn't make any mistakes. But I actually made several, and that's what I'm gonna go over with you. That way you don't make the same mistakes I did when building yours. So let's check this thing out. Okay, the rollers that came out, they lock. Here's the little tabs, pull down. This one actually got damaged during shipping. I had to fix it, but it did chew the little plastic coating around the end. I left these little flaps to keep them covered on each side. Got the Blackstone griddle. Okay, one of the first mistakes I made, and didn't realize it till I almost had this box all the way complete, because I had the whole frame of this before I started adding any of the drawers to the front or sides. If you can notice this right here, this comes down and it flares out just a little bit. Well, when I cut this piece right here, bottom was fine, but the top is about a 1/4 inch off. So instead of disassembling this whole thing, I made it work. But to make it work, I had to shim out my drawers to make them come out right. So it was a little more pain in the butt putting in these drawers. So just make sure everything that you cut, check it, make sure it's completely square before you put it in. Otherwise, you're gonna run into problems down the road. Another thing, when I built this box in the shop, before I put the rollers on it to put it in the back of the truck, this drawer, the bottom one, was much bigger, and it actually came down, and where I had to mount the roller, the drawer wouldn't pull out. So I had to take the rollers back off and actually make the drawer shorter than what it was. So keep that in mind. Make sure you figure out where everything's gonna mount up before you build it. Another problem I ran into, I wanted to add this aluminum trim all over everything. I think it makes it just look so much better. But I didn't take into account that it was gonna raise the height of it. So when I added it, I had to take it all back off and actually trim the whole top part of the box down and then reinstall the trim because it was too high. When you go to shut it, it would hit. Here's the storage. Lots of room. As you can see, I torched all the wood just to give it that burnt look, and then I polyurethaned everything. I think it came out pretty nice. In the front here, got the top drawer. This is a cutting board. Push that back in. Directly underneath it, we have our sink. Let's see if I can hold the phone here. Faucet comes up. We're able to connect our water underneath. And we have the pop-down sink. So there we have our sink. And everything will fold away nice and neat. There's the cutting board again. And there's one last mistake I made. Let me crawl up in here, I'll show you. Okay, when you're measuring your bed, I don't know how high you want to build the box that's going in yours, but I wanted to build it, level with the back of my tailgate. Well, when I ran the tape measure in, I ran it to the bottom of the bed, and it goes a lot further than the top. I did not realize this hump right here. So make sure you keep that in mind, because that's about 1.5 inches difference. And when I slid this original box up in here to make sure everything was going to work, it hit my tailgate, wouldn't close. So I had to literally trim 1.5 inches off this metal frame and 1.5 inches off this box just to make everything shorter. So don't do that. Man, thank y'all so much for watching. I hope this gives y'all some awesome ideas. That way you can customize your own slide out kitchen. Now next, I'm going to be installing a water tank with pumps and a tankless water heater. So stick around and catch us on the next one.